Hello, my name is Andy McPherson. I'm a sergeant with the Rochester Police Department assigned to the Professional Development Section. The Professional Development Section encompasses the training unit and the backgrounds and recruitment unit of the police department. One of my duties in the Professional Development Section is to coordinate the physical agility testing for potential Rochester Police Department candidates. The primary goal and purpose of the video which you are about to watch is to give the potential Rochester Police candidate a general understanding of the physical agility testing process and a thorough explanation and demonstration of the battery of physical tests that potential candidates will be taking and must pass to continue in the process. I will also give you some additional information to better prepare the potential Rochester Police candidate for these battery of physical tests. Upon successfully passing the written Rochester Police test, the potential candidate would receive an invitational letter from BHRM, which is the Bureau of Human Resource Management. Invitational letters are sent out based on band scoring. The letter would indicate the date, the time, and the location for the physical agility testing portion of the process. The potential candidate would report to the selected location and would check in with a BHRM staff member. Candidates will then be escorted to testing sites and given specific instructions by the test site proctor. Potential candidates will then have to take a battery of physical tests, which includes the 1-minute push-up test, the 1-minute sit-up test, and the 1.5-mile run. Candidates must pass each physical event before they can move on to the next event. Potential candidates that do not pass all 3 physical tests will be directed to a BHRM staff member and will not continue with the process. Potential candidates that do pass each of the 3 of the physical tests will then be directed to the Rochester Police Department members to begin the initial background process. I will now talk about the battery of tests. Upon completion of the explanation of instructions by the test site proctor, candidates will be placed in groups and sent to a testing area which is being controlled by 2 Rochester Police Department instructors. The instructors assigned to each test area will be proctoring the 1-minute push-up test and the 1-minute sit-up test. Upon successful completion of these 2 tests, the candidate will then be sent to another additional location indoors for the 1.5-mile run. The instructors at the test area will read the instructions for the push-up test, they will demonstrate the proper form for the push-up test, and they will give the candidates the opportunity to ask questions or have any portion of the test explained or redemonstrated. Upon completion of the push-up test by all members of the group, the instructors will then read the instructions for the sit-up test. They will demonstrate the proper form for the sit-up test, and then they will give the candidates the opportunity to ask questions or have any portion of the test explained or redemonstrated. The instructions for the 1-minute push-up test that the proctors will read are as follows. The hands are placed slightly wider than shoulder width apart with the fingers pointing upward. The feet must be together or up to 12 inches apart with the toes touching the floor. Starting from the up position with the elbows extended, the subject must keep the back and hips straight at all times. In the downward position, the subject must lower his or her body to the floor until the upper arm and the floor are parallel, forming a 90-degree angle at the elbows. At no time can any body part, such as the face, stomach, or chest, touch the floor. The subject then returns to the up position by fully extending the arms. Resting, if needed, must only be done in the up position. The hands and the feet must stay in contact with the ground at all times. Repetition of the same number indicates that the exercise was performed incorrectly. We will score the total number of correct push-ups performed in 1 minute. I will now have a male demonstrate the proper form for the push-up. Push-ups will be performed on the floor of the facility being utilized. I will now have the male demonstrator get down into the starting position. Male demonstrator, starting position. Notice that his hands are shoulder width apart, his fingers are pointing upward, his back and his hips are straight, his feet are together, and his toes are touching the floor. Demonstrator, when I tell you, perform 5 perfect push-ups. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we'll now break down each component of the push-up. Demonstrator, get in the starting position. Again, notice that his hands are shoulder width apart, fingers are pointing upward. His feet are together, or they can be up to 12 inches apart. On the downward motion, demonstrator is going to go all the way down so that his arms are parallel to the ground, forming a 90-degree angle at the elbows. Notice that his hips and his back is straight and that his toes are on the ground. On the upward position, the demonstrator returns to the up position by fully extending his elbows. Again, notice that his hips and his back is straight and that his feet are together and his toes are on the ground. Demonstrator, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up. Okay, we will now review some incorrect form. The repetition will not count if the person doing the exercise does something incorrectly as I demonstrate. The demonstrator will not go down all the way. Demonstrator, keep going. Notice that he is not going all the way down where his arms are forming that 90-degree angle. That repetition will not count. If the demonstrator does not come up all the way but goes down all the way, again, they will not count. Notice that when he returns to the up position, his arms are not fully extended. Those repetitions will not count. So you have to go down all the way so your arms form that 90-degree angle with the elbows, and you have to come up all the way so that the arms fully extend. We will now talk about incorrect form involving the hips and the back. If the demonstrator performs exercise repetitions and the hips stay up in the air and only the shoulders go down, the repetition will not count. Notice that his hips and his back are not straight. If the demonstrator keeps the hips and the back low and the shoulders are up in the air, notice that this repetition will not count. Demonstrate a proper position. Now he will perform again perfect push-ups. All the way down, all the way up. Notice that his shoulders, his hips are all one unit. All the way down and all the way up. If the person performing the exercise wishes to rest, he may rest only in the up position. He may arch his back upward. He may bow his back downward. But once he or she is ready to continue with the repetition, they must come back to that straight position as in the starting position and then perform the exercise. Notice that all 4 points of contact, his hands and his toes, must stay on the ground at all times. Female candidates have to perform the push-up the exact same way, which are full range of motion push-ups. I will now have one of my females demonstrate proper push-up form. Female demonstrator, get into the proper push-up position. Again, notice that her hands are slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Her fingers are pointing upward. Her hips and her back are straight. Her feet are together. Female demonstrator, please perform 5 perfect push-ups. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The instructions for the female candidates are the exact same as the male candidates.